everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Africa's premier sports video podcast, the 3 Quarters Podcast. As usual, remember to jump onto the hashtag 3QP and let us know what your sporting interests are. I'm Damima Duffield.
And I'm Kamuya.
So, Enterprise Cup final. That was our feature game of the week.
Yeah.
Used to seeing KCB in finals. This time they weren't there. No, I mean, just saying. So we had, it was at the RFU grounds, and it was IMPALA and KABRAS playing for the cup.
Yeah.
I think everyone more or less knew, unless Lord knows what happens on the day, KABRAS are taking it. KABRAS started off as IMPALA's bogey team and then just became better than like practically everyone. On the day, to be honest, for me, the game wasn't really exciting per se. Like KABRAS won, but it felt like we just want to score enough to win.
Yes.
We we're tired. Season is over.
Yeah.
Who wants to
Yeah.
IMPALA, I feel, even going into the game, sort of had this let's see what happens kind of attitude. And I mean, you saw it when they played. Points at the end of the day, 37 to KABRAS, only 7 to IMPALA, and I think it's what most people expected. The grounds weren't even like super full because everyone sort of knew what was going to happen in that game. But what did you think of it?
I'm laughing because even the explanation just sounds dull.
I mean, like there's nothing exciting to say.
There's nothing exciting about the game, you're right. KABRAS, you get the feeling, had something sucked out of them after losing the Kenya Cup.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the Kenya Cup is the big one. And that's what they were gunning for. So you get the feeling that exactly what you're saying, they were just doing what needed to be done to win on the day. It really didn't matter how they won. They just wanted to get that win. And of course, we call the Enterprise Cup champion. Of course, IMPALA are the defending champions. But even them, you feel like they got in the game already knowing that, hey, look, it's going to be a tough one. Measuring up against KABRAS. Of course, they're still licking their wounds because of Kenya Cup. But yeah, it was an uneventful game. The result is kind of what everyone expected. So congratulations to KABRAS. It was not just exactly what you're saying. There was nothing to write home about the game. Everyone expected the result that came. And you just felt like KABRAS were doing just enough to get the win, and IMPALA were like, you know what, this is already gone. We also have to account for the fact that, look, it has been a very long 15th season. Towards the end of the season, of course, we started seeing teams that really worked in terms of pre-season and the conditioning. Because, and I think that's a big problem in Kenya. You find that if you follow the Western rugby, or rather advanced rugby, let me call it advanced rugby, is that they have a very solid pre-season. And throughout the season, it's just gym work, a bit of speed work, agility, and a lot of ball work. So fixing your lungs for the season is mainly done pre-season. But our pre-season here, say for 1, 2, 3 clubs, the pre-season in Kenya is not really intense. And like I'm saying, towards the end of the season is when you start seeing the wear and tear. And I think that was evidenced a lot by this game. That coupled up by the fact that at least on KABRAS' side, they're still licking the wounds. For IMPALA, the season ended a while back, so they might be rusty. Is I think the reason why we didn't get a game an entertaining game. I think about the last year's Enterprise Cup, same thing. IMPALA versus Homeboys, 22-0 to IMPALA. I think about the 2017. 2017 was pretty interesting. I remember 34-38 to KCB. That was a good final. But yeah, I largely feel all that I've just mentioned is the reason why we didn't see an entertaining final. This is another reason why I think I said this to you off screen, and I was like, Enterprise Cup should be played before Kenya Cup, because after Kenya Cup, I mean, you could see by KABRAS' performance, it was just, oh well, let's go, let's play, let's win, and let's go back home. But they were happy. I mean, yes, they celebrated, but it's just not. It doesn't seem to carry the same weight for the players. I think it's something all stakeholders in the game should actually look at, because we need to make it a bit more attractive for winners. Kenya Cup, yes, is attractive. It's the league. You slog it out. That's what you play for. But we need to make the Enterprise Cup also as exciting, so that we have quality 15s action for a very long time. And
especially it being knockout rugby.
Exactly.
It should be even more, more enticing.
Enticing. And kudos to the union. And rarely will I say that, but kudos to the union in the calendar this year, because they tried fixing the Enterprise Cup in between the season. Previously what has been happening is that
season finishes,
then you go to the Enterprise Cup, and you normally see attrition. Players, fans, you don't really want to sit down and continue watching. But it was a very good move for the union to fuse it with the 15th season. But they need to make it a bit more attractive, so that even when you're done with Kenya Cup, you still have something to fight for.
Anyway, well done to KABRAS. Got some silverware. Okay, so did Impala, but like when you're at the top, so very well done to them. Bad man of the week comes from our obviously feature game KABRAS versus Impala, and I mean, there were people who stood out on both sides. But I'll just go straight to my man of the match, and that's CLAUDE JOHANNES. I felt like on defense, he really gave Impala a hard time. And I mean, I feel like if your attack is really good and your defense is not, then you just need to have that cycle where you score more than you concede. But then when your defense is good, I feel like you're as good as your defense.
I mean, CLAUDE has come under a lot of heat, and I know this. Having had chats with relevant people, because he's a massive unit, and we haven't really seen his effect or felt his impact, at least on a ball carrying perspective. I've always felt that from a defensive standpoint, he's been relatively good, but it's a go forward ball that we haven't seen. But he did have a game, or he did have a good game. My guy, I'll just go with the usual one. Philip Walker action, especially his try. Philip, and I said it somewhere else, I can comfortably say, at least for me, he's the most exciting player to watch in East Africa. And he reminds me of former New Zealand flyer Dan Carter in this sense. Even when Dan Carter had an off day, there was one or two things he would do, you'd be like, hey, this is the reason why this guy is actually the best player in the world. So it wasn't like an excellent performance by Philip Walker, but it's one of those ones, that try and a couple of those ones, and you're like, this is the reason why this guy is perhaps the most entertaining player in East Africa. Actually, to be honest, that's your bad man of the week and not mine. But when you think of individual brilliance, Philip Walker is one of the first names that come to mind. Yes, that's true. So we move on to the shorter version of the game, and that is Kenya Sevens. So our team, Shuja, was in London for the London Sevens rather, and so we played against Fiji, lost 24-17, played against Samoa, won by 1 point, so 21-20, and then lost against France in the last pool game, 31-17. Interesting performance, I would say. I feel like, the game against Fiji and the game against France, to be honest, those are going to be toughies. Samoa, I feel like we could have done better. Then we move on to the Challenge Trophy quarterfinals, where we played against Scotland and lost that game 29-21. And then 13th place semi-final, we lost to Japan 26-17, a team that I feel we should not be losing to. To be honest, the Scotland game and the Japan game, I would agree with Poggy. If you don't know Poggy, I don't know. And he was just saying, guys, we can blame the union all we want, we can blame money, we can blame, but those games, we lost those games because we started off okay, or rather, you play and then you dip on day two, which is what we're used to, unfortunately. But I feel like we didn't have that oomph. Like we just didn't. It's like we didn't want it, and we should not be losing against Japan, especially with the relegation battle. Those guys are right there at the bottom with us. But what do you think of their performance? Look, first, you don't take anything away from them.
No, of course not.
And I go back to what I keep on saying, with the conditions that these guys have been provided, I think they're doing a good job. It's not what you expected, or it's not what we are accustomed to. It's not what we have come to expect. But we all know what has been happening this year. So it's going to be a tough one. Now, catch-22, because some part of me, and this is my opinion, some part of me feels like, and I don't think they're going to get relegated because they just need to finish better than Japan and Wales.
Yeah.
Some part of me feels that, feels good to that effect. But some part of me also wants the team to be relegated so that we can go back to the drawing board and get everything right. We've achieved serious heights with the sevens team that we kind of have forgotten where we came from.
Yeah.
And I think relegation will not be the only thing to take us back there.
Yeah.
It could be drastic, or what I'm saying could be very drastic, but I think we are our own worst enemies.
Yeah.
We've gotten here for a reason. So I don't take anything away from the boys, taking into account what they have gone through or what they've had to bear this season. I don't take anything away from them. It's not what you become accustomed to, but I'll be honest with you, I kind of expected that result.
For me, to be honest, the reason that I think I have, a slight problem with it is because those same boys we have seen play better. Like in games against even tougher teams. So it felt a little like, when you've tried and tried and tried and it's just not working. And then there's when it gets to a point it looks like you're just not there. And of course I can't sit and say I know what they're going through because you don't. And I agree with you, the relegation battle it's a tricky one. You feel like no, we shouldn't be relegated, but then you're also like maybe that's what we need. But then I feel like it's one of those where you've got a few rotten apples, so now you're going to chop off the whole tree and start from scratch. And with our current systems, if we don't clean up our house, we will stay. Yeah. And like if we'll get relegated, and it will take us years to get back. And you're just like, I feel like the boys shouldn't be punished for something that is not necessarily their fault, but also, maybe that's the wake-up call we need.
They shouldn't be punished for what is not. It's not their doing. Look, in sport now, money is everything. Incentives. You don't expect to perform at the level that these boys are performing against professional opposition without money. So it's not their fault. Some people will say it's their fault because of the saga in Paris last year. But these guys have just been dealt a bad card. And it's unfortunate that they have to be the ones who are there. They have to be the ones who are going to bear the brunt. But some part of me feels, well, granted, you want these guys to remain a core team. Some part of me feels like maybe we need to get relegated so that we can get our house in order. Well, we'll wait till Paris Sevens, which is on the 1st and 2nd of June, to see what happens. And we wish the boys the best of luck, of course. That's true. We're always behind them. So still on sevens. Now this is former players. Let's say former because I don't know if this particular person will play for the national team again. Even from a personal standpoint, I feel like he'd be like, no, I don't think I want to. But also knowing the people we've got at the union who's going to want to approach him with this. So Dennis Ombachi, he's not the only one who took to social media. William Baka did as well. But basically he went on a whole, Twitter rant and is like, guys, like I've played for over 10 years for my country. I'm not even proud of it. Like the things that us guys like go through. We've gone to the Olympics, we get treated like, I don't know, your money is eaten, come back home, your house has been locked. William Baka says that, one of your teammates calls you, they don't have food, things like that. And he's just like people need to know this is what is happening. But what do you think of his whole, you see, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And that's what's happening here. Dennis Ombachi, William Baka, they've gotten to the point where like, you know what, we can't take this anymore. And we've seen other players. Personally, I won't lie to you, I've had 2 or 3 players call me and say, look, Dennis Ombachi has given us courage, now we need to start speaking about what is being done by the people who are managing the game in the country. So this is exactly what's happening. I don't think he's wrong at exposing exactly what they're going through. It's something Damima we've been hearing for years.
Yep.
It's something we've been seeing these guys go through. And you see there's that argument. We go back to that argument of in our days. And I've been seeing it a lot.
We didn't play with money.
Yeah.
You guys should play with heart for your country.
Closer to home, for me at least. And Harlequins, there was a discussion that happened when Harlequins lost to KABRAS. And one of the seniors said the era of pro rugby is here. Days of playing from the heart, those are long gone. And there's a whole debate about it. I think it can be done personally. I think it can be done. I just think the people who are managing the game, two things. Number one, they're in for their selfish interests. And number two, they just don't have the vision to make it professional. There's a whole debate about it. The next week, Queens lost heavily to KCB, and he repeated it again. He said the era of pro rugby is here. That is what all these other countries are doing. These guys that we want to compete against, the New Zealanders, the South Africans, their players are playing pro rugby. Now, is the money there? I think it is there from corporate Kenya. These guys, they're not asking for $1 million shillings a month. These guys are just asking for a decent what, 150, 200,000 bob a month just to play rugby. With the bonuses, and these are the programs of these are the programs you wish that people in the union would sit down and come up with. You know, if you go to professional sports, if you go to the West, for example, if you go to the NBA, you have this sit down with players when they're signing the contracts, and you advise them and you tell them this is what you can do, this is what you can do when you get your money, make your investments. Because remember, a sports person's career or an athlete's career lifespan in active sports is about 10, 15 years if you're lucky. So whatever you're doing during that time should be geared towards
what's going to happen after.
What's going to happen after. So again, I echo what the Queen's old guard was saying. The era of pro rugby is here. We need to stop these excuses, because guys now keep on saying, another group I was on, it was because of them in Paris. No. Let's not run away from the fact. The reason why the players blacked out the shots, whether it was right or wrong, that's up for debate. But the reason they blocked out the shots is because of what you're doing in the union. How do you divert their money? That's the reason why. So, look, I personally, I'm very okay with what Dennis Ombachi did. Because these people need to be exposed. Because you're hearing stories at club and at national level about the money that's being misappropriated. And it's something I said elsewhere. People who are managing the game right now, they keep on saying that we are pushing a narrative of the union being corrupt or these rugby clubs being corrupt. It is not our narrative. It is corporate Kenya's narrative. That's why they don't want to deal with you. So you need to fix your house. Stop blaming other people.
Definitely. And we're not sitting here making up stories. These are things that a player will come and tell you and say, this is happening, this is happening. A coach will come and tell you, this is happening. So come on. I mean, stop.
The story can go on.
So we move on to the international rugby scene. Match day 15 Super Rugby. Chiefs versus Reds. Chiefs 19, Reds 13. Brumbies 22, Bulls 10. Sunwolves 7, Rebels 52. Crusaders 19, Blues 11. Waratahs 15, Jaguares 23. Stormers 34, Highlanders 22. Sharks 27, and Lions 17. Anything unexpected?
No. I expected Crusaders to win with a larger margin. They played the Blues, but it was still a win. Taz losing to Jaguares showing they're a powerful outfit. Of course, the influence of the Argentina national team showing there. But by and large, it's what you expected. So match day 16, Blues versus Bulls, Rebels versus Waratahs, Sunwolves versus Brumbies, Chiefs versus Crusaders, Reds versus Jaguares, Sharks versus Hurricanes, and Lions versus Stormers. Which games would you look out for? Chiefs versus Crusaders and Lions versus Stormers. The local derbies should be interesting. Those two games would be the ones to look out for.
All right. So we move on to football now. UEFA Europa League final. We have Chelsea and Arsenal, and this is only the second UEFA Cup or UEFA Cup / Europa League that is an all-English final.
Arsenal versus Chelsea. That should be an interesting. But the story that's dominating, two things. First, N'Golo Kante looks like he's not going to be playing in the final. Number one. Number two is Arsenal forward Henrik Mkhitaryan. He's Armenian, so he can, because of the tension between Armenia and Azerbaijan, final is going to be hosted in Azerbaijan. Baku Stadium. Baku Olympic Stadium. He's not going to be playing. He's not going to be traveling to Azerbaijan. last I heard. It's not something you can run away from when you're talking about geopolitics.
Yeah.
Football and geopolitics, they actually do mix when you have such games. So I think that one was going to be very easy to call how it was going to go. Now, in terms of the game itself, Arsenal have been on an ascendancy. Chelsea are kind of inconsistent. And with talks about Maurizio Sarri leaving and all that, you don't know what they're going to show on the day. But look, at the end of the day, Chelsea did finish above Arsenal in the league. And so what we always say, it's a final. It's a final. So who has it on the day? Who has it on the day? If you watch this show, you know who I'm supporting. So
loyal.
I'll be loyal to my Gunners.
All right, well, we'll wait to see that game. Looks like it's going to be a very interesting one. Just before we move on to Formula One, we had the Champions League final.
Champions League final is coming also this weekend. And I think that's a big one. Tottenham versus Liverpool. It's going to be. It should be an interesting tactical battle between Mauricio Pochettino and Jurgen Klopp. But sometimes, even with finals, there's an experience that comes with finals and playing finals. And I feel like Liverpool, having lost to Real Madrid last year, I just feel they have the edge over Spurs. But we keep on saying, look, it's football, it's a final, and it's on the day. The only thing that works against these two teams is that both of them recovered in the second leg of the semi-finals. So this one does not have two legs. It's on the day. And who brings their A game on the day is the person who's going to win. Who do you want to win? I want Liverpool to win.
I would have to on the same page. Same page.
I want Liverpool to win.
So now Monaco Grand Prix. We have Hamilton at the top, so he's being consistent. We have Vettel, who moved to second from fourth. We have Bottas, who moved down from second to third. We have Verstappen, who moved down from third to fourth. And we had Gasly, who moved up to fifth from sixth because Leclerc didn't finish. Pierre Gasly had a good run in Monaco. Charles Leclerc, unfortunately, that was his home Grand Prix, him being French. He had to retire, I think, in the 18th lap. Max Verstappen actually finished second, but he had a 5-second penalty because of an early release in the pit. And because of that, he was deducted. They add 5 seconds to your time, so he ended up dropping to fourth. So it was going to be. Lewis Hamilton was very focused because, I mean, for those of us who have been following F1, non-executive chairman of Mercedes and former world champion, 3-time world champion Niki Lauda passed away last week. And he was somebody who was very influential in the management of Mercedes. Toto Wolff was a team principal for Mercedes. Actually said that that race in Monaco was going to be all about Niki Lauda, and he saw that the emotion during practice, during qualifying for Lewis Hamilton. So Hamilton is, look, the reason he's a 5-time world champion, and he showed that on the day. So congratulations to Lewis Hamilton. And now on to NBA news. So we have the finals coming up, of course, and people are saying Warriors are heavy favorites, but we don't know how that's gonna go. I mean, Kevin Durant might not be ready to play the first game because of an injury. So he's still recuperating, might not play. But then we're also looking at June 30th, where free agent open season.
This is the time when everyone in Nairobi becomes an NBA fan, and everyone has an opinion. Now, Golden State sweeping Portland, and of course having rest days, having more rest days than Toronto. Toronto just clinching the Eastern Conference in 6 games. It can work two ways for Golden State. They could be rusty, and it could take time for them to recover, to get into the game, or the rest could actually be very good for them. Now, in terms of play, Portland, my opinion, of course, Portland is not, or rather Toronto is not Portland. And while it was easy for you to sweep Portland without Kevin Durant, it's going to be a tough one against Toronto, and especially because of the player we are seeing, Kawhi Leonard, in the postseason. Remember, he's a former finals MVP. He's been to 2 finals before. I think he's one or has been one of the best defenders in the league in the last 5 or so years. We've seen him shut down Giannis Antetokounmpo in the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's not going to be easy for Golden State. They've had very easy finals the last 2 ones. 4-1 to the Golden State Warriors in 2017. Then a sweep last year against Cleveland. Both times against Cleveland. It's not going to be that. It should be an interesting one. And frankly speaking, I'll be honest. 2 things. It's good first to see Toronto in the finals. They've never been in the finals. Number 1. Number 2. This is a finals I'm actually looking forward to because I feel like there's actually going to be a competition. Golden State might end up taking it. Yes, they're heavy favorites, but I feel that the competitor that Kawhi Leonard is not going to let it go easy. That should make for an interesting final.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we'll wait to see that on the day.
Yeah.
Now we move on to our bonus segment where the question is, what is the hindrance towards commercialization of sports in Kenya? And I'd like to say like everything, but no. Got to be objective. So first thing is cultural view.
Yes.
Like guys still see sports as a pastime. It's an extracurricular activity going down from school level all the way up. Like this is what you do after work. This is what you do after school. This is what else do you do? You know, the fact that sports never really looked like a career. You're not making money. It's go be an accountant, go be a lawyer. You know, yeah. But yeah, and you know, jobs in sports, like they're just not as readily available as, you know, other jobs. You've also got your structure in the sports industry, which I'm not even going to go into. We've talked about that like time and time again. And then there's corruption.
Yes.
No, big old corruption comes in. As corruption is rampant everywhere, and especially in sports. So you'll have money coming in, and then you'll have misappropriation of funds. You don't know where it's gone, and then the largest stakeholder, being the player, doesn't get the money. So then corporates are like, so why are we doing this? But what do you think?
Commercialization of sports. Yes, you're right. Pastime. People still look at sports as a pastime. And just before I give my points, I'd like. And for Africa, because we're focusing on Kenya, I'd like our viewers to think about the person who's the president of Liberia. The person who's the president of Liberia is George Weah. George Weah is a former professional footballer. He's won the World Player of the Year. And the reason why George Weah is president is because football gave him an out. He was able to go play professional football, and it's pro. So you learn a lot of things from a pro perspective. It opened him up to the world, to the people he met, and to see the need to come and do something back home. And he's been doing that. I mean, this is, I think, this was his 3rd stint at the presidency. So I can comfortably say that if George Weah had not become a footballer, he would not be where he is right now. He would not be president of Liberia. And there are very many other athletes in Africa, guys who've been able to go abroad and play professional football. Even Victor Wanyama, our very own Victor Wanyama, he's been able to go there and make money, and God knows what he's been able to do back home. Think about even Dennis Oliech, the famous Mama Oliech restaurant, after his what he got for his late mom. It's processed from professional football. So imagine creating a system in Kenya that allows these players to earn some solid money, proper money. Then you increase the number of guys who then have this exposure, because it's pro, like we're saying. It's professional, and you have to behave in a certain way to be a professional. And these are some of the values that you're taught. So the problem, cultural view, what you've said, still a pastime, and just an argument. I mean, I have no problem with him. John Okwara, who's a Queen's forward. We were having an engagement on Twitter, and he had tagged Kenya Rugby Union, he had tagged Ambassador Mohammed, because Chipu do not have money to go to, and he was saying, the government should, the president promised money to sports, and they should release money to sports. If you ask me, that's where the problem is, from a cultural perspective. If you go to the Western countries, there's no day the US government is going to be funding US basketball for tickets for the US men's national team. It's a kind of relationships you get into, the corporate relationships you get into, the people who are, if it's Nike who are doing the kit, it's a kind of money you generate from that. It's other revenue generating things, whether it's merchandising, whatever it is, just to make yourself a running business. That's what funds such things. And that's a problem we have in Kenya. You get money from the federal, from the government, inakuliwa, or whatever happens to it, happens to it. The president said at last year's Kenya Open, the reason why golf is getting the support they're getting from government is because of the way the federation is being run. And the golf union is being run. And that is why they're getting the money. They already have the money. They're making profits.
They're just getting more money.
They're just getting more money. On Saturday, we were discussing about the government having given to Harambee Stars 200 million shillings to go for the AFCON 2019. And I was asking people, now, can you imagine a situation in which FKF had its own money? So this 200 million is either of two things. It's buttress, it's cash reserves, or it's actually just giving a boost so that the guys have a more comfortable tournament, right? So that's cultural part. There's a management part. During the Kenya Cup finals, we were sitting down and having a discussion with Stephen Msioka, Arvin Mombo and a couple of other guys. And I asked, what is blocking us from going pro? We're talking about the pro era. And Stephen Msioka said, funds. And I said, no, the money is actually there. It's management. And we agreed, all of us, we came to agree, the management is the problem. So the people who are running our sporting federations, I've talked about a conference I attended on sports in the last 3 weeks. And the guys who are sitting down, panel discussions, the guys who are leading our sports organizations, you're asking yourselves, these are the guys who are in charge of sports in the country. That's the reason why we are where we are. So it's a cultural issue from a perception point where you're playing sports. Go to class. Class is not meant for everyone. First. Two, it's that the guys who are running sports. Because of that cultural view in sports, there's money that's going to come in, but people are not going to look at it. People are not going to be keeping tabs on the money that is in sports. And that's where the money gets lost.
And that's all we have time for. Though guys should, I think guys should tell us what they think, unions or sport federations should do to make sport look more attractive to corporates. Because if you don't look attractive, why am I investing? Guys, remember you can find us on social media. That is by following us on Instagram, liking our page on Facebook, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Remember the hashtag to use is 3QP. I'm Damima Duffield.
And I'm Kamuya.
See you next time.